Hello my kings, queens, and fellow non-binary leaders, and welcome back to Nerdy Nakama. Today, as voted on by my lovely channel members, we're gonna continue with the Pretend to Faint challenge. This time it's ShibaInuYakuLev, and this is actually their first video on this channel. So yeah, I hope you will enjoy this new addition of a Poliship to the channel. And this is also almost the last part. There's only one more in this challenge, so I'm excited. I hope you are too. Enjoy! Noya sent an attachment. Simple but effective. I'm actually surprised this was the most harmless so far. Me too. I told you I didn't intend to get anyone into the hospital. Yeah, but the fact that you actually didn't is still surprising. Agreed. Sorry, Noya, but they got a point. The fact that Ushijima got so quiet, though? I mean, he's always quiet. Not like that. I didn't expect him to be so shocked. Yeah, I was a bit worried. Understandable. And that's even though yours was the most harmless. Well, now I'm too curious how you will do, Shibayama. Me too, I can't wait to see Yaku's reaction. He'll probably behead me if he ever finds out it was a challenge. Is he even tall enough for that? What? Never mind, Atsumu will be his first target. Thanks, Atsumu. The timing for the challenge wasn't terrible. Yaku dragged them out on a hiking trip, though it didn't take much convincing for any of them. It was warm, and despite proper hydration, it wouldn't be far-fetched to feel a little faint. Though, even if the circumstances weren't the problem in terms of making it believable, he felt bad to ruin their trip by worrying them. What happened to pranks that were actually funny and didn't harm anyone? Why go to such extremes to prove a point? Though Shibayama guessed he could ask that himself. It wasn't like Atsumu or the others forced him to, nor that they could. He'd gladly pretend they did though if Yaku searched for someone to blame. The Libero side. Yuki, you good? Isn't the path gorgeous? The F waved excitedly from a few meters ahead. It made him smile as he saw the genuine excitement on his face. As the light filtered through the leaves of the surrounding forest, got caught in his hair and seemingly illuminated the emerald green eyes, it wasn't hard to guess why he was so popular as a model. Yeah, it's beautiful. It was like someone had captured the patterns of the saturated dark greens of the trees, speckled with sunlight, and put it into the F's eyes. Come on, focus, or we'll never reach the top. Yaku walked past him with long strides, making Shibayama chuckle as he saw the telltale blush on his cheeks, telling him that he wasn't the only one to notice their boyfriend's beauty. Mori, have mercy. Some of us left our athletic days behind. Juggling kids doesn't exactly prepare me for this. Yaku turned around but only raised an eyebrow skeptically at Inuoka's exaggerated turmoil. However, he did slow his pace a bit. Inuoka had half a mind to walk up to him and tease him about it. Yori, their Shiba Inu, barked excitedly as he did and followed suit. The pup had great fun exploring the woods around them. Every couple of minutes he'd venture out ahead a bit or to the side before returning, sometimes proudly presenting a twig in his maw and circling them as if to make sure the area was still safe and all of them present. The younger Libero smiled as he observed this scene. He had gotten into his head too much. There was no reason to be grand with the challenge. He'd just pretend to feel faint on their way to the car and enjoy the moment for now. His foot caught on a root and suddenly he tried to regain his balance. The ground beneath him slipped away. Green hues rushed and blended around him as he plunged down the slight slope to the right. For a moment, he still tried to make sense of what happened. His arms instinctively flew up to shield his head and face. The earth beneath him was mostly soft and wet with moss, but the occasional twig or thorns scratched over his exposed skin. He couldn't distinguish up from down, and was almost certain any attempt to hold on to something and stop his fall would result in broken fingers. His lungs felt deprived of air. He fell surprisingly quietly. Not a sound escaped his throat until his back and neck collided painfully with a tree that finally stopped his fall completely. A quiet gasp was forced from his chest upon impact. Pain radiated from his back and arms as the world around him began to blur. He tried taking deep, deliberate breaths and regain orientation, but the vertigo stayed. He felt like he couldn't move. He probably shouldn't. The slope wasn't too steep, and the fall not too high, but he had still managed to build up quite some tempo before being forcefully stopped by the obstacle at his back. Most importantly, he needed to stay calm. It felt a little as though nighttime was approaching fast as the world darkened around him. Had the others heard his fall? He hadn't been able to yell, but surely it had made some noise. Did he need to call out to them? He tried, attempted to force more air into his lungs, but it seemed futile. The words wouldn't form. Suddenly, there was a loud bark from above, and at once relief washed over him. Of course. Yori. He always checked that everyone was still present. Yori. Goodbye. Yori. It was a whisper more than anything, but it didn't need more. Soon the barking became louder, and before he could drift away completely, a wet snout sniffed at his face and warm fur grazed over his skin. I vote for ramen once we get back down this mountain. But we had that just yesterday. How about tempura and sushi? Sounds both good to me. What do you think, Yuki? He turned around and faltered. What is it? Do you want something completely different? However, Yuki was nowhere to be found. Yaku froze, his eyes narrowed, and he scanned the area quickly. Yuki? Yuki! This is odd. He wouldn't just leave. Yaku nodded, his throat tightening a little with worry. Yeah, no, that wouldn't be like him. Perhaps he went to check on Yori? His theory was quickly dispersed as their pup appeared from the bushes around them and began excitedly circling the group. He got antsy when, just like them, he noticed Shibayama's absence. It was no secret that their dog basically imprinted on Yuki and hated to leave him out of his sight for too long. Yori, find Yuki. It wasn't a command they had explicitly taught the dog, but he was smart, and at the name his ears perked up and he began searching. Do you think he might have sat down to rest? Possible, but he would have told us, and it couldn't have been far from here. He was behind me just a minute. His explanation was interrupted by Yori's insistent bark, echoing from a couple of feet down the slope. Yaku tensed and immediately set to go after him. The slope wasn't too steep. If one carefully minded their step, they could descend safely. However, the ground was slick with moss and mud. It had rained a few days back, and the vegetation preserved the water skillfully. Yuki? If Shibayama had slipped, his heart stopped for a beat as he spotted him. Yori had protectively sat down in front of the libero, barking to alert them. Over here! I think he's injured! From above, he heard worried questions being shouted back at him, but he didn't answer them as his attention zeroed in on Shibayama. He knelt down before him, uncaring that his pants began soaking up the muddy water from the ground. You did good. Good, boy Yori. He would shower him with treats later. For now, he began inspecting the small libero. As he shook him slightly and checked his breathing, the dark-haired frowned and began to stir.
Yuki? Is he okay?
Careful! We can't have you stumbling too. He saw from the corner of his eye how Inuoka, used to being constantly vigilant and looking out for others, caught Lev by the elbow to stabilize him. His heart was racing as their calm plans derailed so catastrophically in mere minutes. Mori? Yaku snapped around as he heard Yuki whisper his name. His gaze caught on the deep blue eyes. They were hazy and a little unfocused, but he opened them slowly and attempted his best to focus on him. I'm here. Are you okay? Shibayama groaned as he moved to sit up. Immediately, Yaku reached out to help him. He checked him over, letting his hands roam over his arms, wrists, sides, and back to check for any injuries and fractures. Luckily, upon first glance, he had only sustained some bruises and scratches. How are you feeling? Does anything hurt in particular? The smallet looked a little disoriented, but gasped out a laugh as Yori licked his face again. Yori, sit down. He obeyed swiftly but begrudgingly if his gaze was anything to go by, and allowed Yaku to continue his assessment. The older libero had produced the first aid kit from his bag and started tending to his superficial wounds on his arms and ankles. I'm fine, a bit dizzy, but I don't think it's a concussion, probably the shock. What happened? Lev knelt down beside them and gently cupped Shibayama's cheek, who gladly leaned into the touch. I got into my head about some group chat I was invited to and didn't focus. Stumbled over a root and fell. Does anything feel broken or like we should get it checked out at the ER? Shibayama paused and took a deep breath as if to test how it felt. Then he shook his head. It wasn't that far, and I don't think I broke anything. Are you sure? Perhaps you should get it checked out just in case. I'm sure. Don't worry, but I promise to tell you if it doesn't get better or I feel worse. Yaku sighed as he stepped back. The smaller's arms were now wrapped in clean bandages, but his clothes looked dirty and tethered. He leaned down to kiss him on the cheek and wipe a stray tear away. Alright, let's go home. We can order takeout once we get there. They nodded, and without hesitation, Lev had leaned down and swept Shibayama up into his arms. The libero let out a yelp and clung to him automatically. Wait, I can still walk. It's just some scratches and... Don't even try, Yuki. You get hurt, now we'll take care of you. Them's the rules. Yaku could see a blush creep up his cheeks, and a small smile tightened his lips in response. His heart slowly calmed from the sudden turmoil, but he still might get grey hair from the stress. What was he thinking getting into a relationship with his former teammates when he already knew how unpredictable they could be and chaotic? Though, as he watched them now, Inuoka joking to make Shibayama feel better, and Lev gently adjusting his hold to make him feel comfortable, with the injured smiling at them, he felt his heart lighten. It was hard to imagine not falling for them, perhaps even impossible. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. That would help the channel out so much, and you wouldn't miss out on any future content. I think that would be great. And yeah, there's only one more part to go, and that's like Enoshita, Tanaka, Daisho, and Torushima, which I'm super excited for. Tell me what you expect of that, and then I will probably do a supercut. Also tell me what your favorite moment and a quote was under the pinned comment. That would mean the world to me. A special thanks, as always, goes out to my new Nekos. They are the absolute best, and they help me make this whole thing possible, and to ensure that I can upload as frequently as I do. So yeah, thank you so much. They also get early access. This video, I believe they got 3 weeks in advance. And yeah, so if that's something that you would be interested in, check out the join button of this video. Here are my other social media. And here is the end cut with more content. Check that out if you like, and I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. Bye!
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.